New it too here at Be Sew In. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about quilting in the embroidery side of machines. Last week we talked about some domestic machines and up into long arms with robotics. We wanted to look at it a little bit of a different way this week. So over here I've got set up the magnetic hoop and the support table on the Baby Lock Venture, so I can show you how we did a little bit of quilting in these little blocks over here. So I have got it set up. Jan drew me some pretty little boxes so we could scan this in and show you how you can take a design built into the machine and make it fit into your blocks. So you said those were 5-inch squares you drew? So we just go into our little quilting designs in here. And we chose this one, but maybe for video purposes, we'll just go over here. Set. And then we went to our little camera and scan it in. And because we've already got stitching in there, you're gonna see our previous design whenever we pull it up. But it's gonna move to scan.
And what is this doing?
It is using the camera built into the machine to take an image of our hoop and put it on our screen.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so now you can see on here, we've got the design that we have selected. Let's scoot it to the side for just a moment. Got the design we have selected, and there's our fabric that's already got the stitching on it.
Yes, I see that.
So say we were trying to pretend that stitching's not there. We're trying to line it up in there instead. We're gonna resize our design.
Can you maybe change that thread color so the folks at home will be able to see that better?
Yeah. Let's go to, let's see, will it show up a little bit better like that? There we go.
Yep, that's a lot better. Thank you.
Of course. So we're gonna go size, and I'm gonna go to my stitch recalculation so it brings my, changes my stitch count whenever it changes my size here. Bring it down. Smaller, smaller, smaller. And then you just use your positioning from there to line it up where you needed it. And maybe we needed to rotate a little bit. You can do that in here as well. Size, rotate, everything there.
So if it's off just a little bit in your hooping, you can, can you show me how that rotate works?
Yeah, so you've got 90, 10, and 1 degree increments, and 0.1 degree. Look at there, teeny tiny increments. So if we just wanted to rotate the whole thing, it's a symmetrical design, so you can't tell that I rotated it 90 degrees,
That's
but
true,
pretend.
I cannot. Oh, but I can tell that. Excellent.
There we go. And so whenever you're done, you just get it all lined up, press start, edit end, lock and start, and then it stitches out our pretty little design on here.
That's pretty sweet.
So because I've used the magnetic hoop, let's see if I can get it unscrewed with my weak little hands. It makes it really easy to reposition if we are going to move to a different part of our quilt here.
Okay. So basically you wouldn't have to unhoop what you're doing like a traditional where the inner ring fits into it?
Exactly.
Okay.
So on these, if I were to, say I needed to do another one right down here, set my little screws to the side, I'm going to take off my magnets from the end.
Strong magnet.
Yeah, they are. And they come with a tool to make it a little bit easier to get them off. I'm just gonna leave that right there. I'm gonna hold my hoop on the bottom side, hold my fabric on the top, slide it right down, and pretend that my piece of fabric is long enough that I could then go through, put my magnet on backwards, and put my magnets back on. And you'd be ready to do the next section.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
I love that. And what's this table that it's sitting on? That's pretty handy too, instead of having to take it over to a table.
Exactly. Yeah, this is for this is the support table for the 10 needle. This one also fits the 6 needle, I believe. There is one that fits the Alliance as well, the single needle. It's a little bit of a different size because it's a little bit of a smaller machine.
Okay.
But those are really helpful, especially with quilting and these magnetic frames, and especially if you're going to do both of them, because, I don't know if you'll look over here real quick, if I put a little bit of pressure on this, you see how that starts bowing?
Right, and if you had a whole big heavy quilt on it, that could pull down.
This hoop is heavier than that weight that I'm putting on there.
Okay.
So just this hoop alone could start to kind of pull things more than it needs to.
And which machine does this hoop fit on?
This machine fits on 10 needles. Let me see. They have a whole list on their box here of which ones it fits on. Some of them it fits straight on, like the Venture. Some of them you have to put the free update on your machine to get it to fit. But they've got their little list there, and if you go to the Baby Lock website, they've got a whole long list on there too.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. So, the other nice thing about this hoop, and we did a little sample to show you, is if you've got your backing and your batting and your quilt top, you know, imagine this is pieced. Do you need stabilizer in the back?
I don't know. Do you?
Well, we did one with and one without, so we can kind of see.
Okay.
So without stabilizer, looks pretty good.
Okay.
With stabilizer, still looks pretty good on the top, but now it's time to tear it away at the back. And you could probably use a wash away and make this a little bit easier.
But then you definitely have to wash it well to get all the wash away out.
Oh yeah.
Let me get a little closer here.
Now we get to go through and pick out all these little pieces in the back of our quilt.
Oh, no. So what you're saying is you probably don't need stabilizer in here.
Probably not, especially if you've already got so many layers together. If you've got a fusible stabilizer on the back side of your quilt, on the back side of your top, depending on what kind of quilting you're doing, you know, you might have Dreamweave in there, you might have a no-show mesh in there.
Okay.
So if you have stabilizer in your quilt already, especially including your batting, things like that, you don't need something on the back side.
Okay.
So we're going to step over to the Alliance, show you a little bit of free motion over there.
Okay. Ashley,
Yeah.
this is a Alliance embroidery machine. Why are you pushing on a foot pedal?
Because I've got a free motion quilting kit on here. Comes with your little gripper ring to help get you going. This extra guide right up here that sits around your foot so we don't run into our quilt.
Okay.
And your support table also comes with the foot control and a different bobbin case because it'll have a little bit of a different tension. But then you can turn your single needle free arm machine into a free motion quilting machine.
Well, that's kind of super cool.
So if you like to do both, only have the space for one, that's certainly a great option.
So show me here on this screen.
Yeah, so you can position where you want your needle to stop up or down, how high you want it, needle beam, super handy, and your different stitches per minute there, and then you can adjust how high you want.
I love that.
And there's no stitch regulation here. You are the stitch regulator.
Okay, so you got to practice a little bit to make sure you're staying even.
So it's a little bit of a learning curve, you know, but it always is, so.
Let me see here what you're doing.
Of course,
looking
the
pretty.
slower you go, the smaller your stitches are, and the faster you go, the bigger your stitches are.
So you want to keep an even pace, is what
Exactly.
you're saying. So will this work on like the 10 needle and the 6 needle too?
No, ma'am, only the single.
Okay. I guess all those other needles would probably be in the way, wouldn't they?
You would.
Yeah, so that's a good point. And so you just attach all that stuff and it works?
Whenever you do that, if you'll come look at the screen again, I can show you
Okay.
right here. It's going to do its little recalibration like always, but whenever you attach this little guide right here, it adds this key to the top of your screen.
Oh.
And then you just touch that. It's going to do its little recalibration.
And now
you're in free
thinks
motion
it's a
mode.
free motion machine. So it's like 2 machines in one.
It is. So easy.
That is sweet.
And again, for somebody who doesn't really know how to do free motion,
It's looking
it's
pretty
made it
good.
really easy.
It's looking pretty good, and I can see with some practice, it could be even better than that.
Yeah.
I like that, Ashley. Thank you for showing that to us.
Yeah. Do you want to show us some more things on the Venture?
I would.
Perfect.
Okay, Ashley, I have to show you something super cool on the 10 needle machine.
Yeah.
Actually, it's any machine that has IQ Designer on it, and this one happens to have that. So let me show you here. In IQ Designer, we have the ability to resize these fill stitches so that you can do some really nifty things with it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make a pretend quilt block. So we're just gonna pick a shape, and I'm just gonna pick a square. Most quilt blocks are square. So we've got our square up there, and all I need to do is just fill it in with a fill stitch. So this is our fill properties area down here. I'm just gonna touch the page, and it's gonna tell me I could either completely fill it in, stipple stitch, or I can pick a fancy fill. And I'm a fancy girl, so I like fancy fills.
Yeah.
And I love these roses. That one's really pretty.
Oh, yeah.
But there's all sorts of different ones on. I think there's 36 different ones on here.
Oh, wow.
So you can see you have lots of room to play with this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pick one like this basket weave.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got the basket weave. Right now it's going to show up in red. I think I'll switch it over to black so that I know you'll be able to see it on the screen really well.
Okay.
And then when I touch inside here, it is going to put that design in. Remember, a paintbrush can kind of fill in an area, and a bucket can completely fill in the area.
Got it.
Can you see that pretty good?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, so we want to resize it now also.
Okay.
So if I come over here and I say next, what I want to do is be able to resize this. So you can see right here it's at 100%. If I wanted to be able to do it smaller, let's take it down to 50%. You'll see what it looks like at 50%. Those
Oh,
are some
wow.
tiny basket weaves. And if I want it to be as big as it can go, it'll be 200%. And you're going to see it in big basket
Oh, wow.
weave.
Yeah, that makes a lot of a
I
difference.
stitched one out here just to show you
Okay.
the difference between having the IQ Designer resized fill stitches in a 50%, 100%, 150, or 200. And it starts looking like a completely different
It does.
pattern just because you are able to adjust the size so easily.
It really does. Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't that really nice? And like I say, anything with an IQ Designer on that machine has the capability to do this so that you can quilt your squares. And then you'd be able to scan it in so that you can exactly see where your quilt block is for the Venture and the Solaris, because they have the built-in camera, and then also the ones that have like the Meridian and the Altair, where you can use the app and take the picture and that sends it over to it. All great tools for being able to do resizing fill stitches for your quilting.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so Ashley, I wanted to show you something. This is the array, the 6 needle, and you have Quilting Designs built into your machine. If we touch exclusives, right there, it says quilting.
Nice.
So we'll touch that, and you'll be able to go in here and pick any of these lovely quilting designs. So just like we showed you on the other machine, how we put in a design, you can do that and resize it to make it fit wherever you need it to go. We still have that recalculating, so if we needed it to be a lot smaller, we can get it to be a lot smaller. But you have the ability to make it fit where you need it to fit, and you've got those right here at your fingertips on a 6 needle. It comes on the 10 needle. It comes on a lot of the flatbed machines too. So if
Nice.
you haven't ever used any of those quilting stitches, this is a really good opportunity for you to be able to quilt your own quilt and quilt the blocks exactly how you want them.
So whenever we talk about stitch recalculation, what does that mean?
Stitch recalculation is where it can take it down 60% or it can go up 20%, and that's not right, 200%. I'm saying my numbers wrong. And it recalculates how many stitches are in it, because if it came down too small and it didn't take out some of the stitches, it would be really bulletproof embroidery. But as it grows bigger, you needed to add some stitches to it, or it would look all sparse and feathery. So
Got it.
the machines that have this icon right here, that is stitch recalculation. I'm going to show you a little trick here on something really simple. We'll delete that one just so you can get a better idea of what stitch recalculation does. We're just going to do that shamrock right there. Size. Now, if I don't do stitch recalculation, it can go up 20%. It can go down 10%. But if I use stitch recalculation, I can go down 60%, and I can go up 200%.
Oh, wow, that gets a lot bigger.
And you see it's not sparse. It kept all the stitches in there.
So for our quilting designs, that helps keep our stitches being consistent versus having really, really long stitches or
That
really,
is
really
correct.
tiny
That-
stitches.
you got it. You got it.
Awesome.
Let's look at some of the products that are really great quilting products.
Great idea.
Okay, so we were just showing you some of the great tools out there, like the magnetic hoop and the extension table that can go on the Venture and the 6 needle. And we also talked about the free motion kit. So you might want to know, well, what do those cost? Well, let me tell you. If you're interested in the end table, that's the big table that was on the Venture, also fits onto the array.
Okay.
And that table sells for $949.99. The free motion kit, which was what we used on the Alliance, which includes the table, the gripper ring, the foot controller, all of that great stuff, that whole package is $900.99. That's a sweet deal. You
Heck
can't
yeah.
buy a long arm quilting machine for $900.
Nope.
So you can turn your Alliance into one, or if you just want to use an Alliance as a quilting machine, come see us, we can help you with that. And then the magnetic hoop, that one sells for $649.99. So we
Nice.
have some really great options for you there. But let me show you some of this other stuff over here.
Okay.
Okay, so we have over here some of the different battings. Quilter Select makes excellent batting. This one is a soft blend batting, which means it is a poly cotton blend. And this one is the perfect cotton batting, it's 100% cotton.
Okay.
I'm a real cotton fan, just always have been. I like the way the quilts kind of scrunch up whenever you get to wash them. Some people
Okay.
don't like that look, so going with a blend is probably a little bit better. But I like my quilts to look scrunchy.
Okay.
They're homespun and used and warm.
Yeah.
We also have embroidery batting over here. This one is from R&K, which is a parent company of Floriani and Quilter Select. And it is a cotton poly embroidery batting. It's a little bit denser batting because it knows if you're doing embroidery on it, then it needs to have a little bit of extra built into it so that
Got
it
it.
can hold the heavier stitching into it.
Got it.
Then we also have something here called Quilter Select Free Fuse. Quilter Select Free Fuse is a little powder that you can sprinkle onto your batting, and then you iron your quilt onto it, and you don't have to worry about pins or basting stitches, and it's a great tool.
Nice.
Love that. And if you run out, we have Quilter Select Free Fuse Refill, because you would just take the lid off and pour this in, so you don't need to buy the new little bottle every time. But I will caution you that it does say adhesive powder, not for consumption, because it sure could look like, I don't know, cornstarch or flour, and it would not taste good. It
No.
would probably make your mouth stick shut.
Probably.
Yeah, let's not do that. I was gonna show you here, I have one that's open.
Oh wow, that's really
Can
fine.
you see that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just a little bit of powder, but when you put some heat to it, it's glue.
Nice.
Yeah, real nice stuff. We also have Quilter Select scissors.
Okay.
These are the applique scissors, and my favorite part about them is they have that little swoop right there,
Mhm.
so that you can get into those little points.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise the big duckbill thing doesn't
Sometimes
fit
gets
into
in the
a
way.
small point. And the other thing I love about Quilter Select is they have these for right-handed people and left-handed people, because not everybody cuts the same direction, and not all scissor types come in a left and a right hand. So
Nice.
that's a really helpful thing. So all you lefties out there, if you like to do applique, you probably need a pair of lefty Quilter Select Wave applique scissors.
Nice.
We also have some thread right here. This is the Quilter Select thread. I know we showed that to you recently, but this is something you can also use on your embroidery machine to do those quilting stitches. And we also have some other embroidery thread that can work well on quilting. This is Embellish. It's a matte finish thread, so it looks like cotton, but it has the strength of all that polyester.
That's
in
actually
there.
the one I used out there for our little
That's
5-inch
right.
sample.
That's right. And then we also have this one. This is Embellish Flawless, and what makes it different is it's a finer, lighter weight thread. So if you want your quilting to disappear a little bit more into the quilt instead of being more obvious, then you might want to try this lighter weight thread.
Nice.
And you can use that as well. And I'm sure you're curious, well, what are the prices for all of these things?
Yeah.
Okay, so the prices for these, let's start here with the Free Fuse. It is $21.99, and the refill bag is $14.99. But the special that we're going to have this week is if you buy a Free Fuse, you get the refill for half price.
That's nice.
That is a great deal. Love that one. We also have those wonderful Wave applique scissors, and they are $31.99 if you're right-handed, and they are, I'm just kidding, they're also $31.99 if you're left-handed. I know sometimes left-handed scissors can cost more because they're just not made as often, but we are nice. They cost the same whether you're right or left-handed.
Well, that's nice.
Yes. We also have the Quilter Select Thread Cone here. This one's $19.99. The Embellish Flawless, which is this one, is $6.99, and the matte thread is $5.99.
Nice.
So we have some really great deals for you on these. So I hope you have enjoyed the things we've been talking about today. So I want to remind you that it is very important for you to like, share, and comment on Facebook, so we know you're out there listening and you're sharing it with your friends. We want more friends in our family. So
Yeah.
from me and Ashley, thank you so much for joining us at New at 10.